Today we got an episode that everyone deals with. Top restaurant complaints and how to handle them. Dave Ross put together a phenomenal episode with topics like wait time, order accuracy, dirty restrooms, unfriendly service, poor handling of customer concerns. You're going to want to listen to this. The show notes are great. They're found on restauranttopia.com. I want to take a moment to send a thank you to our sponsor, Hillcrest Food Service. If you're a local independent, if you're looking for a phenomenal partner that's going to be on the journey with you and help your operation, check out hillcrestfoods.com and Hillcrest Food Service. Thank you so much.
Imagine a perfect world where you can build a restaurant, open the doors, and make loads of money. Unfortunately, those days are over. It takes great leadership, hard work, and long hours to operate a successful restaurant. Together, we can make it happen. This is Restauranttopia.
Love this topic, complaints in restaurants. You are going to get complaints. Don't fool yourself. You're not perfect. Your staff is not perfect. It's not the complaint itself. It's not the mess up. It's how you handle it. Dave, I love this topic. I'm excited. Really excited.
Thank you. I am too.
Anthony, have you probably never experienced this?
Complaints? Oh, no, never. I didn't get any complaints. Yeah, not one. I went 20 years with zero, so I had a scotch-free record. No,
I'm looking forward to some help from that side of the table.
I'm going to have a hard time not hijacking this topic.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That's all right. Well, I welcome that.
Dave Ross, hit it. Let's do
it. So there wasn't a lot of science that went into this. I literally Googled top restaurant complaints.
Okay.
So this wasn't something that I did a poll or I did a Family Feud survey, top 100 answers. But I just basically went through and said, okay, what are the top things that most people are complaining about at restaurants? And then how do we handle them? Because I think a lot of times they are mishandled and a lot of times they're not handled, which is even worse.
That is worse.
We'll just rip into this, and there's no significant order to these complaints. I'm just going to start something that I think everybody's probably experienced as a restaurant consumer, and it's wait time, the speed of the service. Okay. Yeah. I think that a lot of times this happens because the restaurant doesn't have a focus on those ticket times, especially for certain times of the day and certain days of the week. For instance, perfect example is lunch. If you do good lunch business, or any lunch business really, if you'd like to have lunch business, you really should be thinking of speed. You should be thinking of something, quick, be able to get it out to the people, because most of the time they've got, unless you're in a tourist area, or something, but if you're in a place where there's business and there's people working and they have a lunch break, you need to be considerate of their time, because they typically have half an hour to 45 minutes to leave the office, get to your place, have lunch, get back, okay? Mm-hmm. Those things should be, so your lunch items, your attitude towards service, all those things should be around speed to get that food out quickly, get the people what they want, and get them out, Now, if somebody comes and they can take a 2-hour lunch break because their job or whatever, that's great, but the majority of people, you want to be on, be cognizant of their time.
They're going to let you know that, and I think this is critical during the lunch hour, because there is a time crunch there, and you almost can absolutely know that is the case. Yeah. So you want to be, and again, they will slow you down if you're going too fast. You don't want to rush them out. You still want to have great hospitality, but speed is critical here. Yeah. And even when I probably have 3, even during the pandemic, 2 to 3 lunch meetings a week. Those meetings, I need to process them and get it done. Mm-hmm. And again, not to cheapen it at all. I can't spend 2 hours at lunch, and nor do I want to take 2 hours of my guest time. Mm-hmm. So that means I need to get in, eat, talk about what we're going to talk about, and leave.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's a big difference between like a Saturday night. And it's not saying you're going to, mosey around and take your time on a Saturday night either, but there's a different level of expectation from the consumer, because they're probably out, they're chilling, you're going to step their courses a little bit and put, the appetizers and salad in at this time and the entrees in this time and give them an experience over an hour or two period.
Yeah, but still needs to be reasonable.
No, of course. Yeah. But total different. Like, you want to have the food to the table in 8 minutes versus, 15. There's a big difference there. And so having the expectations right for the times and days, I think, is how you start down that progress to making sure that people aren't complaining about your speed of service.
That's really it. Having the expectations right. And there is an amount of time that's appropriate, because you still want to get the number of turns a night is on that Saturday night. We all love to spend 2 hours at the table, but hey, would you like to take these drinks to the bar?
Yeah. What do you got, Anthony?
I got a lot.
You got a lot.
Anthony's like, yes.
Brian, keep
Is
talking.
it my turn?
Keep talking.
No, he's bottled up over here. Listen, what this comes down to is stimulus response. It is really what it is. On a Saturday night, that your war is impending. You got to be on top of your game. and you know that it's coming. And a Monday there's no stimulus, so there's very little response. I don't think it's any secret that operators know they make more mistakes on the slower periods than they do on the busy periods, especially proportionately. It's so true, and it's incredibly frustrating. But what happens is on a Monday you're short-staffed because you're trying to save labor costs. You got your grill cook is doing prep simultaneously. 1 or 2 orders comes in. They're not panicked to get to those orders. And this is them being guilty of taking customers for granted, because we do it all the time in the industry. They say, oh yeah, I'll get to that ticket after I finish chopping these cucumbers and I'll go over there. And then next thing you know, it's 20 minutes before they even start the ticket. And then Brian's this miserable lunch date that he's got to stay an extra hour at now. He's stuck at, right?
You don't want to, at lunch, you don't want to be delivering the to-go box with the meal. Get it out quick. Let them consume it in the restaurant.
That just hit me like a ton of bricks. You know how many times that's happened? And it's like you don't think much of it, but it's so true. That ruins your experience, right? Something bad happened between point A and point B where you get your to-go boxes at the exact same time you get your food.
Yeah.
Oh, that is insane.
No, for sure. And so I think, also you need to train your staff on how to handle maybe if there are longer wait times, if there's things going on. And I can't say because, my experience isn't heavy as Anthony, so maybe you have something to comment on this, but I feel like, there is a way to handle when you're experiencing longer times, being more attentive. It's not like, I don't think you walk up and go, yeah, the kitchen's running late today.
Yeah,
but
don't say that
there's
to
ways,
me.
but there's ways to handle that through the interactions with the customer, right or not?
Listen, being attentive is certainly one. Owning it is also one. Understanding, the cardinal sin here is when you have an inexperienced server, typically, and this is how they operate, they disappear. They hide from you because they don't want that confrontation. They're nervous about what you're going to say and how you're going to hit them over the head with the club, and they just avoid you. And that's the absolute worst thing you can do. You know what? Keep my water filled. Keep my bread coming. Check on me. Don't be annoying, but check on me. Make sure everything's good. Own up to the fact that it's taking a little longer than expected. Don't blame anybody. You guys are a team. There's no rift between front and back of the house. Dining room and kitchen are one entity. It's a restaurant. That to me is, if you can imagine from a chef standpoint, how that makes me feel. When they say, oh, the kitchen's running really behind today, I'm not sure what the issue is.
So really having a focus on that speed of service, I think that's important, and really training up your staff to handle it properly.
Dinner time, what we would do a lot of times if we were running behind is that we always had an amuse, which is like a free appetizer from the chef, usually starts the meal. We would have those queued up, especially we opened a restaurant in a new town and we didn't know what to expect. So we hedged our bet, and we had this lot of prep in the back. And if our servers are running behind or they felt tension at the table, they would run back there and grab a few portions of whatever is on that tray, deliver it to the table. Here's something free from the chef.
And
you just bought me 15 minutes as a chef to straighten stuff out, because now the guests are like, oh my God, this hamachi crudo is so amazing. It was so nice that they gave it to us. We're so special. Meanwhile, we're in the back saying, oh my God, we dropped the ball so hard on that table, right? So
that was dropped your food. And we have to
and there's things you can do, soup or salad too, just free offerings. Free offerings usually help a decent amount. Sometimes it's throwing gas on the fire, but most of the time it helps out.
Right.
No, it's honoring that customer and addressing their concerns and trying to, again, we always talk about this. It's the hospitality. Provide them with the hospitality. Things are not going to be perfect. They don't expect them to be perfect, but they want you to be able to address the issue and not, as you said, Anthony, hide.
Yeah, and I think, we've exhausted this in other episodes, but put yourself in the seat of the person in your restaurant. Be a consumer of your restaurant. You know what I mean? And for all these points we talk about, you can do that. You can put yourself behind the eyeballs of that restaurant consumer and say, what am I experiencing here? What would I want to experience here? What do I want to feel like when this happens? And train that into your staff.
Yeah, no question. Let me paint you a picture real quick of how this went down. So I went to this Thai restaurant the other day. It was our local neighborhood Thai restaurant, right? Everybody's got one. I love the people. I think they do a great job. We order some takeout. We order takeout there all the time. And I walk in there, my to-go order wasn't ready, and I was 20 minutes late. So I'm like, okay, where it's at, right? They were really busy. So to the point where I was staying outside because I didn't want to be in a crowd of people. After everybody cleared out, my order's still not there. So the owner comes out and she's kind of dancing around it, right? Like I was a little unhappy at first, kept asking me my name, what I ordered. I'm like, I have no idea. My wife ordered it, right? Yeah. And it was choppy as hell. And then finally she figured something out, came out and talked to me. She's like, sweetheart, go wait in your car. I'll bring your food out to you and everything will be good. So, okay, great. So we wait another 15 minutes. By this point, my kids are hungry. My wife's pissed. We're sitting in a car. We had a long day.
Oh, you got the whole family in the car.
Whole family in the car.
Oh my God. This is the worst. Like, because
you can't walk next door and grab a drink.
Now it's your fault.
Yeah. No. And I got to just take me and the kids home and come back and get it. And I'm like, well, this is not my fault. I don't cook here,
Yeah, I don't love that idea.
No. So we're super tense in the car.
Yeah, sure.
And the owner comes out and she wears it on her sleeve. She is so humble about this, knocks on my window and gives us, like, she saw the kids in the car. She gave us those little Southeast Asian sodas where you push the marble down.
Oh,
kids love
yeah,
them.
the choke hazard.
Yeah. They don't come out unless you break them. Yeah. So then she loaded up a bag full of desserts, and then she threw a couple appetizers in there, and then she humbly apologized, and it was genuine.
Wow.
So we went home, and we were elated at this point in time. Talk about turning the experience around, because we were pissed off, but now the kids are happy, so we're happy. So we're like, this is great. My wife takes it to Facebook, and she's in the Summit County Takeout closed page, and there's probably 2,500 members.
Yeah.
She posted our story and talked about how amazing the recovery was and how sincere and genuine they were.
Yeah.
700 people have engaged on this post.
No way.
450 comments. Oh my God, I have to go try this place. Oh, that's such a great story. I love that place. Or those people are so nice. I used to know them. I need to check out their new place. I was like, holy shit, what a marketing coup they just fell into by first making a mistake. Like, it was a train wreck at first. And then all of a sudden it turned out to be the best social media engagement they've ever had. Like, it's not even close.
Put that in perspective on the last 10 complaints that you've had at your operation. It's the proverbial fork in the road. You have two ways of going about this. And now with social media, people will weaponize that. They will either do it for good or do it for bad. And
that's a rare occurrence, because most people will go home, they'll feel good, they'll never say it to anybody. But if something
my wife
happened,
really likes Facebook.
No, I understand, but I'm saying typically the positive doesn't happen in those forums. You're putting out like how crappy something just happened to you.
Absolutely, and that's the way the post started. Quite frankly, I'm sure some people even glossed over, like, oh, another complaint. But then she rounded out and she wrote a couple paragraphs on it and painted a really beautiful picture.
Awesome.
But again, that kind of engagement, like 30-40% of the group engaged. Like, I was like, what the hell did you do? Like, that's mini viral, But awesome. Good for this company.
That is viral. I mean, think about it, because your audience isn't the world. Your audience is people in Summit County. Touch 700 customers is amazing.
Not only that, but shed the light on humanizing their process, how they're humble, how they handle things, how they treat their guests. What a way to be put in the spotlight. What a way. It's that grit to glory story that everybody loves, right? Here we go. It sucked, and then all of a sudden it's amazing. I'm sure they received an uptick in business.
And it wasn't like the typical, Applebee's where, the assistant manager, he pulls out the rule book and goes, okay, late food.
Yeah.
$5 gift card.
Yeah. Or, $2 off your burger.
Yeah.
Or let me get you dessert.
We'll give you a tour of the microwaves.
All 13 of them.
So that's a little bit on speed of service. I think that's something that every restaurant has experienced and their customers have experienced. So I think that's a good place to start. Number 2 on my list was order accuracy.
I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
This is my pet peeve. Worse than a dirty bathroom. Write my order down.
Don't take my pet peeve for your pet peeve.
No,
we have the same pet peeve. I know, because we've been at places where we're like, they didn't write that down. Brian and I actually have bets. We've gone to have meals together where, how many things are going to get messed up,
and we have to do an over under. Right. Because it's not like, it's going to get messed up or not. We know it's going to get messed up. It's just like how many items are going to get messed up.
Yeah, I'm that guy. Like if I go get takeout or something, I don't even check the bag in the parking lot, and I just deal with it when I get home.
Oh no, I'm 100% like that.
Wait, you don't check it? Is this food for just you?
A whole family.
Oh, yeah, you're just glutton for punishment. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that's what I was getting at. I go and the only thing I check is my wife's order. I don't care if they put a lump of crap in my box. Okay. Like, as long as hers is right, everything's good.
Yeah. That's so true. It's so true. Back in the days when Beck and I would go out to the bars and paint the town red, and we had like half as many kids, and we still had a social life. The hot sauce at Taco Bell. If we'd hit Taco Bell by like midnight or something after we left the bar, and if I didn't have the hot sauce, like, you might as well put my head on a steak. So now I've learned that one restaurant I will check everything. I never go there for anything, but the one time a year I go there, you be sure that I'm in that bag looking for hot sauce.
Make sure we give Taco Bell a shout out, because I feel like they've got shit on recently on LinkedIn.
Really?
Maybe.
Why? What was on LinkedIn?
Oh, is that the anti-gift card post? The Taco Bell and real big with an X.
I'm not saying don't buy gift cards. I'm just saying buy gift cards from local independent restaurants.
Agreed. Agreed.
Not your local T-Bell. I love where your head's at, too, because being newly married, I'm ordering an extra item just as a backup.
Oh,
just a contingency plan.
That's actually maybe even pro tip.
Marriage pro tip. Going on 18 months, folks.
That's your longest one yet, right?
Burn.
That wasn't a burn. That was not a burn. Friendly jabbing. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch a nerve.
Should I bring my Ziploc bag of tears?
There you go.
No, but order accuracy in the restaurant, I mean, that's something that I think, I'm going to make a bold statement, I think can be completely avoided.
100%.
100% avoided.
List on list.
So, list on list. How about that?
A great episode. This is something, and I hope we didn't glaze over this. This is the server who is taking your order and not writing anything down.
Listen, there are
Why?
no trophies and plaques for your memory.
Agreed.
No, I don't remember any meetings at the annual, convention of restaurateurs where they say, and now the person who received the longest order without writing it down, Kathy, come on up.
Actually, they do have an award like that.
Oh God.
Do they?
Is that why they do it?
Absolutely
It's like, I hope not. Because
that would make sense to me. You actually just
That would actually connect the dots, right? No, all they do is impose risk. That's all they're doing. For what?
So I have some dietary restrictions, and I hate ordering sometimes at places that maybe don't have the cuisine that I'm wanting, or I'm with some people and I'm in a place that I wouldn't normally eat, but I'm trying to figure out the meal. Yeah. I hate being a pain in the butt to the server and do what I need them to do. But then when she's sitting there and she's not writing it down, I'm going like, ugh.
Well, your health's at stake. Like your comfort all night. You could be doubled over on the floor in pain if they don't get your order right.
No, absolutely. But it's so frustrating because it's like an ego thing with these servers. I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's 100%
I do not
ego.
understand it.
It is anxiety. You're injecting anxiety into the customer experience when none needs to be there.
Yeah.
You don't.
There's no gain. There's no gain.
No. It's ego. It goes back to this is the server trying to demonstrate his or her memory to the table when there's only downside. There's only downside.
Yeah, there's nothing positive that comes out of it.
But even if you have a great memory, and let's say you never mess up, and it's 10 orders, and they all have modifications, and you get it all right.
Okay.
Great for you. Could you please just hold up a piece of paper and make me feel like you got it?
Yeah, like you're taking it seriously.
Like, please.
Remember that experience we had at Zingerman's when we were up there in Michigan?
Oh, my God.
How seriously did they take that?
I couldn't forget
it. Before you could even say the word dietary restriction, words, you had someone there, tour guiding, jotting it down, and they delivered a perfect experience for you. Like, you're blown away by that.
It felt amazing.
Yeah.
It felt amazing. Yeah, no.
It made the $18 roast beef sandwich worth it, right? Like
it did. And the company.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh. Yeah, it was really good company. Yeah,
was,
stimulating conversation.
How was that, guys? Because I didn't get to go. Was that good?
Oh, yeah, we should have
went.
went.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. When people have modifications, typically it's because of choices they've made in their diet. So somebody says they did no cheese or whatever it is, whatever the reason is. But when you mess that up, okay, it's the easiest way to lose confidence in that consumer for them not to come back.
It's borderline insulting.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But for me, like with my restrictions, when somebody nails it, it makes me want to go back. I'm like, man, that was easy. First of all, it was easy because I feel awkward. Yep. It was super easy. They made me comfortable, and they got it right. This is a place I can eat.
Yeah. For all of our front of house people that are listening, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. A tip is not guaranteed, and the better you perform, the bigger the tip will be. Pro tip.
Yeah.
What is this desire to take a 5-top order and commit it to memory? You're just going to mess it up.
It's a parlor trick. I would rather you do something with cards or a rabbit out of your hat or something like that.
I'd rather you juggle the
and I hope it's just they're not like their perspective is off. So hopefully somebody will listen to this and go, man, I never thought of it that way, and I'm going to start doing this. Because it goes back to like you're creating anxiety in the person. The lunch
Especially
Brian and I were talking about.
They don't realize
there was 6 people, and everybody had a modification and had a choice of dressing or sauce. In that 6 people, there were probably 18 things that she had to commit to memory that were different on for the whole order. That's a ludicrous thing. It's crazy to accomplish.
Did she get it right?
What did we end up doing? I think she did miss one.
Yeah,
I think she missed one.
Yeah.
But she shouldn't have missed any.
I know.
Yeah.
She didn't have to miss any.
Right. That's just it.
Again, 100% avoidable. Order accuracy.
But you're right. It's a matter of offbeat perception because certainly these people don't intend to make you feel anxious. That's counterintuitive to how they do their jobs.
Yeah.
What it is, again, it's a parlor trick. It's impressive. It's an ego thing.
Yeah. And then the last thing on this, there's 3 places that orders can be checked before they go out. You got the kitchen preparing it. You've got the expo looking at it. And then you got the wait staff. And I know we're going to probably have an episode in the future about the divide between front and back of the house. If you're expoing and let's say they miss whatever the modification was or they don't have it and the wait staff comes over to grab it and runs it, if you see it's wrong, don't deliver it to the table. Fair? Why would you do that? you set it down. I go, I said no cheese.
Yeah.
She's like, they always forget the cheese. I told them no cheese. Why would you do that? First, you're throwing your back of the house under the bus, okay? And you set it down in front of me with cheese on it, and you took the order and didn't write it down, by the way.
Correct.
You're walking out there and it's got cheese on it. Like, why would you hand it to me?
Yeah, I think it's a sign of the culture.
No, I know, but the only thing the customer wants to hear is, I'm so sorry, I'll fix it right now.
That's it.
I'll fix it right now.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
But we have this need to salvage our ego, to salvage our perception in front of the guests, and we don't realize that we make ourselves look worse when we do that.
You make the organization look worse.
Absolutely.
It's just when any of my team members fail, it's my fault. It's not their fault. Like, it's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, when it boils down, yes, it's your fault. That might be an over-exaggeration, but listen, they make decisions on their own that are their fault.
Correct. But when I'm dealing with the client or the customer or whoever it is, that's my fault.
Yeah,
it's my team. It's I'm the tip of the spear here. I'm at fault here.
That's a very admirable mentality, and I like that.
No, and it's not to say Brian's not going to go back and coach somebody up to not put them in a bad position again.
Correct. Yeah.
But when you're the person, when you're the face of that interaction,
yeah,
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, I can't.
That should be trained.
Yeah, you can't say, "Oh, my employee is still learning."
No, don't blame, man. Don't.
No. Yeah, that's the always thing I wondered. Like, they're new back there. They're figuring it out. It's like, okay, great. Do I get new guy prices? Because
where's the training price menu?
Right, and I'm fine with that. I'll go to the discount menu all day, but don't give me that you're going to discount my service and experience without discounting my price.
Absolutely.
Is this a soft opening? I didn't know because I've been here before.
Why is this my problem?
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have an implied contract. I give you X amount of dollars for X amount of food, and anything outside of that's a breach.
But I'm also giving you my time. I'm putting this in my body. Like, I have a million choices. What are you going to do to give me hospitality that's next level, that's going to make me come back?
Absolutely. No question. So, yeah, get the order right. 100% avoidable. The next point I got in here is something that Brian, very near and dear to Brian's heart, is a dirty restroom. Really just dirty in general.
Yeah.
Unkept cleanliness, but and that's actually the point that came up when I was doing this research, but I put restrooms in there because I thought it was a little more fun to talk about. But I feel like, and Anthony, I want to hear your perspective on this, but if you start and end the day with a clean space, you're probably going to have a better chance of keeping it during the day, and then you just got to have some maintenance throughout the day. So if it's stocked and clean in the morning and it's stocked and clean at night, it should be at your opening and closing checklist, and then you just got to have a schedule of how often you're going to go, do a wipe down.
And this is everywhere in your operation. I can't get over the fact that I'm going into more and more places. The ceiling fan has its own ecosystem, and it's got like that fuzz on the fan. The window,
it's got its own ecosystem. He said,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
The windows are gross, and the windowsill is gross, and there's food on the wall, and all these areas of your operation where you just need to sit down, take a look around, sit in that booth, sit in that chair, and absorb what your customers are viewing, and look at the details. You need to experience what your customer is experiencing. I was at a restaurant a few weeks ago. This is in the pandemic, so it's not like it's pre-pandemic. They had a caddy on the table. It had a bent up flyer on top of it that looked like it had been there since the 50s. The caddy actually had rust on it, which I couldn't believe it. Rust. Like, it looked like hell. And then all of the ketchup bottles and everything, clearly not following the single serve rule, were gross. Like, everything was gross about it. I'm like, you're not looking at this? You're not wiping this down daily, multiple times a day? It's insane to me.
Yeah, that's hard to believe, quite honestly. So on the other side of the coin, I teach a safety and sanitation class, and every year my students have to do a big presentation, and they go out to eat at a restaurant, and then they critique that restaurant as if they're a health inspector from their limited point of view, of course.
Nice.
And the first 3 or 4 presentations that went through, I'm like, guys, this is way too vanilla. Like, come on, you're not finding any infractions whatsoever via Serve Safe. And we went through all the presentations, and I would say only about 10% of them had significant infractions, which is abnormal because almost every semester it's almost like every restaurant has so many different infractions, but not during the pandemic because everybody's so heightened as far as safety and sanitation. It took me halfway through the presentations to realize this because these kids are too nice or they're not doing a good enough job. And I'm like, oh shit, restaurants are just being extra clean. They're like, duh.
And they should be that should not be a pandemic thing. That's your standard operating procedure.
Yeah. Anything else on dirty restrooms or uncleanliness?
I have no time for that.
Okay. Oh, I'm trying to remember the story. This guy, he owned like a pizza chain, and he told a story about bringing his whole staff into the restroom and cleaning the urinal, and then he would eat food out of it after he was done.
Let's not tell that story. That's
but
really
but the
gross.
point of the story was, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, there's a way, you know, you should be cleaning this good that you would eat off of it. Basically, that was the moral of the story. He would do that with his staff.
I know, but I'm grossed out by that. Like,
I understand.
I'm not grossed out by anything.
I understand, like, it's gross, but I'm just telling you, like, that's the link that this guy went to. Now, he didn't tell, you know, his dishwasher to do it. Like, he personally did it. You know what I mean?
All
okay,
right.
whatever. But, you know,
All right,
but his point was,
your turn, Anthony.
okay, we don't have to use it. I'm just telling you, it impacted me enough that I remembered it. So we don't have to use it.
I think I just had another heart attack. This guy is like eating out of the urinal. Yeah.
After he cleaned it, his point was you should be cleaning that good.
Okay, so
Okay,
what did you put in the urinal to eat out of it?
I don't know.
Pizza.
I don't know.
Pizza?
Pizza. Got to be pizza or meatballs.
Well, but
Maybe a salad.
Because it's. I mean, I get the ice. Was it an ice chip?
What kind of dressing?
No, because you could.
I don't regret many things, but this is one of them. Okay, so I apologize. Can we move on?
No, this is good, Dave.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you eat it out something because it's not built for.
You're worried
solids.
about what he's eating out of it?
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. Like, because it can't be solid.
Yeah, I mean, maybe flop the slice of pizza on it and eat it. I don't know.
Or maybe some wedding soup.
The point was that you gotta clean it good enough that you would eat off of it.
All right.
I think I saw that in a movie, that Peter Rabbit movie. Have you seen that with your kids?
No.
Where the guy was in a
Not the
toy
movie,
store.
no.
And he's teaching him how to clean toilets, and he drinks the water out of the toilet. Yeah, he's obsessed.
Yeah.
I would argue that's obsessive.
So the next point that I'd like to discuss, the service, or rather unfriendly service. And this is something that I think as the operator, you really have to define this, because everybody has their own perspective on their attitude. I don't think people walk around like, I got a crummy attitude, or I'm really negative. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thinks that they're positive. Everybody thinks that, like, things are great, and everybody thinks of their approach and all that. But how many times have you walked up to sat at the bar, or the server came up, or it was a busy time and they just kind of come by like, I'll be with you in a second, or, you know, whatever it is. As a consumer, like, how many times has that happened? Mm-hmm. You've experienced that. So, you know, when you're running your operation, you know, I don't think these things can't be acceptable from your staff. You know what I mean? So, but are they even cognizant of it? You know what I mean? So are you doing training to say, like, hey, this is how we're going to greet people.
Yeah.
This is how it's going to work. Here's where you're going to stand. Here's what you're going to say. You know what I mean? And go through that process so that the guest is as comfortable as possible and doesn't have to deal with somebody's attitude because they had a bad day. And a lot of times I don't think somebody's intentionally giving a bad attitude. They may not be. They may not be really aware of what they're doing. But I think if you define it and train it, you're going to be in a better place.
Yeah, it's so important to train people. I'll give an example better than Dave's eating out of the toilet story.
I don't know if it will
There's
be.
nothing better than that.
I don't know if it will be, but go ahead. You could try.
It's top.
We're going to a fine dining restaurant in Twinsburg. Great place. Been there 100 times. Great operator. And the host is rude. Made a comment that I was 15 minutes early for our 7:30 reservation.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
"Not, would you like to have a drink at our beautiful bar?"
Correct. Or hey, so excited to see you, Brian. Like, I made a reservation. I'm not just like, you know, falling from the sky and being like, you know, interrupting your texting.
Wow.
I'm here.
Thanks for being early. Can I grab you a cocktail?
Yeah, I'm here to spend $400. Is that okay? Like, what? Just say, hello, can I take your jacket? How are you doing? I hope you have a great meal. Did you hear about this? Like,
I don't care if it's $4. Like, you came in there to spend money so that person could have a job.
Correct. Not annoy them.
It seems simple.
If I felt like I was annoying her, and it's like, you are so missing the mark on this young person that you need to be trained up, coached up, whatever you want to call it, that this is not how you greet people. What do you think?
Please,
Anthony, just let me have it.
I have too many cuss words.
You're bottled up in this.
Tell me about this. How do you feel
This
about
is something I'm really passionate about. As you guys know, I'm developing a seminar on this very, very thing because I'm tired of being taken for granted as a customer.
Right.
And that's exactly what happens is they dehumanize the customer. So when you walk in, they don't look at you as a human being anymore. They look at you as basically a statistic, a number, or whatever the analogy you want to use is, or the cliche.
Yeah.
And they're not engaging with you on a personal basis. You're more of the enemy. It's like you walking in early is like her, the barbarians are over the wall.
Yeah.
And
like I ruined her night.
right.
Oh my God.
And again, I'm so tired of being the interruption or inconvenience as a customer.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, when I walk into your place, I want the biggest, fattest, warmest hug of hospitality you got. I want to feel amazing right when I walk in the door. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, if you make me feel amazing, I'm going to stay longer, spend more money, and come back more often. Plain and simple.
Well, when did, and Anthony, explain this to me, when did the staff become, oh, we're the cool kids, and the customer became like the dork at the nerd table? Like, I feel like that's how I feel when I go into restaurants. It's like, oh, look at this guy. Like I don't know what they're thinking, but they're not giving me hospitality.
These damn kids these days.
No, it's not even about that. I'm talking,
Brian,
I'm talking 40-year-old server.
Brian, it's leadership.
Yeah.
It's all leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
It comes down to culture and leadership 100% of the time. Whatever's being spewed and conveyed to the staff is how they act. We model our behavior after the people we look up to, plain and simple. If our organization doesn't tolerate that sort of thing, we won't do it.
Yeah.
Attitude's reflection of leadership, Captain.
I love that.
But you look at the last 2 points, okay? Unkept, dirty, okay, and greeting.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what your mom told you growing up, but as far as I'm concerned, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Okay. So when you walk in and you got 6 cigarette butts and the flower pot's knocked over and the door handle's dirty, and then you get an attitude at the hostess stand, that's not a good first impression.
It's the opposite of a good first impression, right? And quite frankly, the thing is making good first impressions is easy. All you have to do is be nice, and you got to clean up after yourself. It's really not that difficult, and it's borderline free. Why do we miss it so much?
Yeah. What does that cost you? Nothing.
Right.
You got employees on the clock anyway. You might as well put them to work, right?
Well, but also train them. Let them know that what they're doing is not correct.
Well, it might not even be training though. Too is yes, you can train on that, but unless they're a great actor, sometimes it could be bad. Like it comes down to hiring too. Hire the right person for the job. How often do you see that we put the most inexperienced, youngest hospitality professional at the front door of the restaurant that's not only in charge of the first impression, but is also in charge of the flow of the dining room for the entire night, which the success of the restaurant is 100% predicated on that flow. But we throw our most inexperienced soldier right into the freaking front lines. Yeah. Like, here you go. Good luck.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
So, pro tip, I would always have my manager at the hostess stand without fail. And they quarterback the entire thing. And then they could coach and they could train. And guess what? After a while that you have that one host or hostess that steps up and says, I'm ready for this responsibility, they can start doing that Monday through Thursday. Your manager's only there on a weekend.
And this transcends fine dining too. Fast casual. You go there, you have a line set up, and that person is new to the restaurant. You can tell they're looking up at the menu board with like deer in headlights. That's when you say, is this your first time here? Thank you so much for coming. Do you want to try this? We make amazing chicken, this, or this is where you have the opportunity to interact with that person. Let their guard down, make them feel comfortable, give them hospitality. Fine dining, fast casual, to go, whatever it is, you need to have that great experience, and that involves just being nice. Picking up the phone. Hello, thank you so much for calling us. We have great this. Can I take your order? Interact. Be nice. Stop acting annoyed.
Yeah, no, you should be mapping out every point of the customer experience that you're interacting with, and make sure that, first of all, I agree with you. You got to hire properly. You got to hire the right people for the job. You got to train, okay? And then I also think you got to give candid feedback. If you've got that bartender that's been with you 10, 15 years, and she's got a crappy attitude, and you don't know how to walk up to her and tell her to cut it out, you know what I mean? Like, that's a problem, okay? Because that person may have some, loyal people or some, regulars that are just used to her bullshit. Yeah. But you've got to have a candid conversation with that person that your attitude needs to be this way to work in my establishment, or this isn't going to work out.
Yeah, and people want to be around positivity. There's a reason that you look down at your phone and someone is calling you, that you rush to pick it up and you take a deep breath. There's the two responses. You're like, and then you pick up, or you're like, oh, Dave, Anthony, how you doing? What's going on? Like, there's such a different response, and you think people don't have that.
That's a great way to look at it.
At your bar, at whatever it is in your operation, that they're either excited to go to your restaurant or not so excited, and it's up to you. You control this.
Yeah, I don't care about tenure, and I don't care about how well you can make a drink or whatever the case may be. If you don't have hospitality coursing through your veins, then you're not good for my environment.
No, I don't care if you made the tonic water yourself and you're super cool and you got a neck tattoo.
That is cool, by the way.
That is cool. And you got a neck tattoo, and I'm the frumpy customer who is a weekend warrior. It doesn't matter. Treat me like I'm special. That's how you get a big tip. That's how you get people coming back to your operation.
It's the only reason you have a job.
Correct.
And so often we take customers for granted, Brian. You know that. And it's every industry. It's not just hospitality. It's just in hospitality I have higher expectations because that's what we specialize in, is the guest experience. That's the only thing that our whole being revolves around. So when we miss the mark, it's much more impactful for me.
Well, I think next week's episode is 10 tips to show customer appreciation.
Love it.
You're going to love it. It's a really good episode. We'll be wearing these same exact outfits, but you're going to love it, Anthony. I'm telling you.
Wait, you have more than one outfit?
No, I don't do a costume change. This is it. It's white.
Great. No,
white,
I just rock the same one every time.
White shirt, blue pants.
Love it.
Red tie. Yeah. So if you've got your if you feel your staff has the proper attitudes and treat people great, keep doing that. It's very important. You don't understand how important it is to not have it. But if you're seeing stuff that in your establishment that can be improved, like, have those candid conversations, because, I agree with Anthony. It doesn't matter how long you've worked there, what you've done, how well you can do something. If you got a bad attitude, it can't last. The next point I got is actually, speaking of issues and concerns in the restaurant, is how we handle those concerns. And when I started thinking about this, there's right and wrong ways to handle it, but this is something I never really thought about, and maybe, I don't know if you've done this or not, but are you tracking and logging issues and concerns that you have? And over a period of time, you're going to look at it and you say, like, you know what? The majority of our issues are order accuracy, let's say. Well, that's 100% avoidable. So could you imagine if you had your top concern that you could just put a strategy together and eliminate it? I mean, that would be amazing, right?
This goes to KPIs and things that you need to be looking at in your operation. You need to know what these things are and log them, not to get anyone in trouble, just to improve your operation.
No, absolutely. If you know where you're messing up, go ahead, Anthony, please.
Yeah. So of course we track this sort of thing, and of course people do it now. How?
Of course. Of course you should. I don't know if people do. I think it's all anecdotal. Like,
really?
Oh, we got a real problem with Sally at the front, and it's like, yeah, she had one complaint, and Joe had 17.
Yeah,
so it's all perception, and it's like, if you're not tracking it, you're not actually looking at it. It's
no. And is it? I mean, in your experience, is that something that's tracked?
I'm beginning to think my experience might be different, because I would have all my managers send out a nightly manager log, and I created a list. And
you got a list?
They would put their dates, their covers, and all that jazz, and then guest issues would be right there, and then that would get sent to everybody in the management team every night when every restaurant closed. So if we had more than one restaurant, you would get 5 manager reports. You'd read through, get all the highlights and the lowlights, employee issues, guest issues, that sort of thing. And then it was my job to extract out the common denominators. You say, okay, this is a bit of an internal pandemic we're having. We need to address this, order taking issue. Like so and so's got to start writing stuff down. With technology now, with these internal scheduling systems and one-stop shop infrastructure tools that you have in your cell phones, there's absolutely no excuse for anybody not to do this. Also, OpenTable too, or your reservation system, whether it's Toast, OpenTable, whoever, they have parts in there. So when this person makes a reservation again, it's their birthday and they complain about the halibut last time.
Yeah. No, right? That's amazing. Yeah.
You don't have an excuse as an operator, and quite frankly, this should be a very top priority for you. I would imagine. I don't know any operator that loves reading negative reviews. In fact, I know so many who have lost sleep over it, right? Like myself included. I would think, and Brian, you just struck a chord, because I just assumed that everybody did this, but maybe they don't. Hopefully they do.
I think.
Well, and I think there's two things. I like your like daily. Here's the issues, and then you try to handle those with the employees. But I also think looking at it over a period of time and saying like, you know what, out of 31 days that we did service, like 17 of them we had this issue. You know what I mean? Like
that's
I think
a pattern of
that's
behavior.
Like, exactly. You know what I mean? So I think tracking it for a longer period of time and understanding where we really need to dive in. Hey, this month we really got to work on this, and then that's all your training and your recalibration and your queue time is all based around those those things that you really want to improve. Because it can be a big endeavor when you look at it and you go like, oh, there's so much maybe that you feel like you're failing at. Let's take it a little at a time and just improve.
Bite-sized chunks.
Number 5 here is poor handling of the customer concern. That is so key. I think so many restaurants, and Anthony said this earlier, don't handle it at all. They try to ignore, and that's the same thing going on social media right now. Like someone will post a negative customer review, and you'll just ignore it.
You're missing such an opportunity.
Such an opportunity.
Go back to what I said about the Thai restaurant.
Yeah.
Like, they showed they made a mistake, but then they showed their recovery, and then they went mini viral on it, right?
Correct.
Like, I would welcome this as an operator. Mm-hmm. Like, if someone has a complaint, it became a challenge. It wasn't until later. This guy I know, Danny Meyer, wrote a book on it or something. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never heard of it, but anyway. There was a part where he's talking about how, like, enraged guests became a challenge to him, and I embrace that because I like to be liked. And I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be liked. Yeah. So when you have an issue at your table, it's all, I mean, what really could happen at a table? It's not like I stole money from you. It's not like I wrecked your car. Like your steak's overcooked. That's an easy hurdle to overcome. I don't care how pissed off you are. If I can come to the conversation or come to the table, we strike up a good conversation. I disarm you a little bit. Guess what? Now we're friends. Mm-hmm. Now I have repeat business. Now I have a fan. So it's not bad when that ugliness rears its head, because now it becomes a challenge for me as a manager to turn the tide completely. Yeah. And I'll be honest, it happens more than you think.
And you get to interact. With
people
somebody.
Just want to be heard.
Yeah,
they just want acknowledged. They want they want it to be handled.
Yeah,
Now every once in a while, I'm sure you had that person that didn't matter what you said or what you did, they were just turned off.
That's they
were going after the free meal or whatever it was. But
you have those customers.
Yeah, for the most part, I think people just want to be acknowledged that I had a concern, you handled it great,
and you handled it in spades.
Exactly.
Correct. And got that interaction. Like, you don't think that giving someone a $50 gift card is going to be the cure-all. Because I'll tell you what, when I've had bad experiences, and again, this is over the last 10 years, I hardly ever complain. But when I've had bad experience, one time I got food poisoning at a restaurant, they gave me a $100 gift card. I'm never going back there.
Yeah,
so I want to sign up for food poisoning again? Like, you didn't do me a favor by giving me a $100 gift card. Like,
that's being tone deaf and throwing gas on the fire is what that is.
Correct.
Right? And that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you're really not engaged with the person if you're just throwing out that. And listen, I like the gift card trick. Like if someone has a bad experience, like, oh my God, will you please try this again? Oh, by the way, the next one's on us. Here's a big fat gift card to enjoy that and get a bottle of wine and ask for me when you come in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of merit to that.
It's how you handle it. But number 5 is great. How do you handle it?
But they weren't listening to you. No. Like, why would you want to come back anytime soon? Right. Like it's food poisoning. I mean, if anything, it should give you some Pepto-Bismol and maybe a nice fluffy pillow so you can nap on,
Edible
and a couple bottles of water.
Okay. So back in episode 31, we were talking about Gen Z. I believe this came up in our conversation that I knew this operator that when he'd get in a complaint online, he wouldn't send a gift card. He wouldn't, send a free bottle of wine, whatever it was. He literally wrote a check, sent it to him. He didn't assume that they would want to come back and experience that again. Now, again, this is a great operator.
Yeah.
This didn't happen often, but this is he literally got in the habit. He would write a check to him.
I love that.
Isn't that amazing? It's so personable, and it's so
above and beyond.
It is, and it's connecting with that customer, and it's saying,
also it's different. Who's doing that?
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. I apologize, and I'm going to address it. So here's
you want to make somebody stop in their tracks and go, whoa.
Yeah,
like that's a way to do it.
I have an $87 check from my favorite from a restaurant in town.
Yeah, right, and that's turning that negative into an overwhelming positive. And again, what happens is that person tells the story multiple times.
Yeah.
So now you have a ripple effect.
You're telling that story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely telling that story.
Maybe on a podcast with a couple dozen listeners.
Yeah, that's it. And then you're going back to that restaurant, right? And so you talked about the online thing. It's like, my God, if you have an online complaint, please engage that person.
Yeah.
And
that's actually my last point. Is like some of these complaints you don't get in your establishment. You're getting it after the fact.
Yeah, when we talk about that, I hate it when the manager says, "Oh, just DM me and we'll talk about it." It's like, no. You take the first step, right? Don't put the onus on them. And quite frankly, go ahead and handle this in public if you can. If that person will allow you to resolve this in public, do it, because then people can see what kind of fabric you're made of.
Right. Well, and this is the tip of the iceberg too. You said it earlier, Dave. A lot of these people are just going home suffering in silence. They're not saying anything. Yeah. The hamburger's overcooked, or this is the issue. And then what do, folks? They don't come back. You need to take this very seriously.
Which is a point that I didn't even put in my notes here, but I'm going to add it, is that, if you're a manager, like, are you touching the majority of the tables and asking them how things went?
Yeah. And do it genuinely, please. Don't just, how's everything taste? Great. And move on. Like, engage me. Talk to me something. Don't do it because it's obligatory, because you have to. Yeah. Do it because you love people.
How are you doing? I've seen you here before. Thank you for coming. Is there anything that we can do better?
I love it.
So one last thing on the concerns and issues that come up outside. So the reverse of getting a negative comment, you're handling it in public, like Anthony said, and people are seeing like what you're made of, and that you're handling the conflicts. Also, I don't think it's bad to ask for reviews. Especially with the online presence and digital things that are going on right now. Like,
I don't love it. Keep going, though.
Why do you say that?
I just want to disagree with you, first of all, because we need some texture in our show.
I appreciate your disagreement.
Yes.
However, I will disagree with your disagreement.
I know.
Because what I feel like is that, again, it goes back to negativity bias. If you're not familiar with that, like, we're all wired as human beings to take on negative easier than to positive. And it's word of mouth. So, typically when you have a bad experience, you're going to tell X amount of people. When you have a good experience, you're going to tell Y amount. It's going to be a smaller amount of people that you're going to talk to about a positive experience.
Yeah, I agree.
That's science. All right, it's science.
But Dr. Fauci.
But what I'm trying to get at here is that I think it's okay to ask people for reviews, because again, if somebody has a positive experience, they're typically not sharing it. So if you would initiate that conversation to ask for a review.
Yeah. How do you phrase it though without coming across as shameless and maybe a little petty?
It's okay.
I don't know. I think it's the wrong way to look at it. I think,
that's the way I feel.
No. It's as long as you're giving and giving and giving them the experience that they want. It's a very small ask, in my opinion, and it means so much in this digital age. You need to,
and you don't need everybody to do it. Like a 5-star review, just so you guys know. And you could, if you go back to the Google My Business episode, episode 32, but Google, a 5-star review on Google is a big deal.
Yeah.
This might sound like fluff, but it actually is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like comment cards for me. I hate asking my customers to do work. Does that make sense? Like, I hate it. Now,
but they're not gonna do it if they don't want to.
You might have convinced me a little bit when you talked about, like, it doesn't have to be everybody. So there's customers that you grow really, really close with, and when they come in, you share a drink with them or something like that. Those customers, I would feel comfortable. Hey, could you do me a favor? If you get the time, could you throw a review up there? We need some more positive support. I don't want a favor,
though. I'm just asking them. Asking them to listen. If you enjoyed the evening, we'd love you to review us on Google
and make it easy. To put a QR code on a sticker, put a QR code somewhere where they can just hold up their phone,
check,
and boom,
it goes right to their Google.
Okay, see, I like that a lot.
Pro tip.
Yeah,
I love that.
Or give them, hey, this isn't going to work for every concept, but all right, hey, just so you know, we give $100 away, a gift card for anyone that writes a review. We only get like 20 reviews a month, so you got a really good chance of winning. So if you want to leave us a review, here it is. Hit the QR code, boom. How many customers wouldn't do for 1 in 20 chance of winning?
Get 2 entries if you give us your email address.
Yeah, no, and that's what we're going to talk about in our next episode is, how to show gratitude to our customers. But
I've been told by SEO people that you can't pay for reviews, or you shouldn't, that's frowned upon. But I guess,
But what do you, I'm not paying for them. they're getting an opportunity to win.
Oh, we had 2 disagreements this episode.
I'm just telling you that's what I heard from somebody that knows digital.
Okay,
that's frowned upon. But listen,
like directly paying or indirectly, like, because I like gamifying it.
It was like it was this scenario, because I actually it was actually my thought process too when I was talking to him about this, and he was like, actually that's not a good idea, because that could backfire on you if somebody. All of a sudden, they're putting reviews and they don't get picked, and then it ends up, and then Google really frowns on.
All right, well, let's get them on the episode. I'd love to hear more about that, and we can always improve on our digital skills. We can always increase our digital knowledge. And I think the algorithm and the game is always changing so quickly.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
better, the more we can learn, the quicker we can learn those areas, the better I think we'll be.
And just, it was Anthony's disagreement that made me disagree with you. So it's really his fault.
All right.
Chain reaction.
All right. Now, I want to take a moment here and do a shameless plug for us. We really care and support local independent restaurants. So if you know of someone who is an operator or owns a local independent restaurant and you think they could benefit from our podcast, we really appreciate it if you'd hit pause and text them right now a link of our show. Thank you.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And then really, just wanted to round it out with. Again, I'm gonna throw Anthony in the pit here without his approval, but Anthony has really done a great job that I've seen with our customers doing something called secret shopping. So if you feel like you've got, if you're doing this well or not doing it well, sometimes I think operators that are doing it well actually want this more than ones that aren't doing it well. But Anthony has done really one of the most thorough and best. Secret shopping I've ever seen. You know what I mean?
I've seen these reviews. They are amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Anthony,
they're
You guys are kind.
There are pages with pictures and great feedback, starting from the greeting, the warm hug you talk about when you walk in,
Every time.
all
First
the way
thing I look
through, the whole experience, and it really is impressive. And so if you're looking to get, now he's very candid. I mean, he's not gonna come in and tell you that everything's roses and puppy dogs. There could be some issues, and he's going to point them out. But I would say reach out to us on restauranttopia.com if you want to have Anthony come in and. Or find them on LinkedIn, but I think it's a great resource to look and have another opinion of your operation that maybe you might find some things you didn't realize.
I'd highly recommend you to reach out to Anthony. This is not like a one-pager with 3 categories and 3 star reviews. This is a deep dive into your operation and what you can do better as an operator that is ultimately going to gain you more customers, more top-line revenue, and give you more money to take home at the end of the day.
And for the record, I talk about good stuff too, right? Like
no.
And if it's good, it's good too. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm just messing around
sure.
because I think people look at these things as imperatively negative and mostly look at it's not meant to be sunshines and puppies and rainbows and all those things because you need to unearth what you're not good at.
Listen, the purpose of it is to find out the things you're not good at.
Objectivity.
Like I don't, if you're looking for a pat on the back, like just ask your mom what she thinks.
But
if you want to find, if you want
business
improve,
improvement,
right? Exactly.
Right. No, it's and thank you for plugging that. It's something I enjoy doing, and I think it's impactful and incredibly helpful for people.
You can tell. You really take a passion
it
to
really
it.
is. Yeah.
And you also have the experience and
even though he disagreed with me, I got to give it to him. It's really good.
no, I don't.
I got shunned. I forgot. Yeah, I'm off his list now.
I mean, it hurt my heart a little bit, but it's okay. I think that any operator would be I think any investment would be well spent to hire you, Anthony. And
thanks, buddy.
Okay, let's wrap
I think the same about you.
Let's wrap this mother up.
Dave, thanks for putting this together. These are some really amazing show notes. Quite honestly, these should be obvious for most operators, but the reason we talk about them today is because they're not. And I think a lot of times what happens is we become so habitual in our daily routine, we take these things for granted. We don't give them the attention they should. So things from wait time, speed of service, or especially on a Monday, as we talked about, order accuracy, dirty restrooms, unfriendly service, all that stuff we deal with every day. But it's so nice to really divulge, dissect, and get to the bottom of it to kind of refresh operators to make them aware and keep this stuff top of mind because it's imperative to the bottom and top line.
No, for sure. Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everybody. That was better.
It sounded better. Yeah, it sounded better.
Yeah, it sounded a lot better. Shit. All right.
This is a high quality pod.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Adios.
Thank you for listening to Restauranttopia. The gratitude that we have for each and every one of you spending your precious time to listen to this podcast is immeasurable. Please make sure to tell a friend about this podcast. And also, if you have any feedback for us, visit us on restauranttopia.com and drop us a line. You can also subscribe on your favorite place to listen to podcasts. Thank you and have a great day.
No.
Oh, you didn't hear this?
No.
Okay, tell them this real quick.
It's so like when you see disappointment in a child's eyes, it hurts your heart.
It's every day. Yeah.
So they get in the car, and Brian flips on the car, and of course Restauranttopia comes blaring through.
Correct.
Because that's what he listens to.
Yeah.
And
quality control.
And his son goes, "Is that the three bald band of brothers?"
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Brian goes, "Well, yes, it is." And he goes, "Well, who's that talking?" He goes, "That's Dave Ross." He goes, "Who's that?" "Oh, okay, that's you, Dad. Okay, I hear you." He goes, oh my God. He goes, why don't your guys' mics sound like that? Who is that guy? And Brian goes, that's the guy that's going to be fired from the show.
We're writing him off next episode. Dude, that's awesome.
Thank you, Eli. I appreciate that. It's crushing
that's my guy there.
Crushing my hopes and dreams.